Hello folks, this series of videos is going to be about me remodeling my deck. This deck has been here for exactly 15 years. It's a pressure treated deck built 15 years ago, as I said, and as you can see, the wood was stained only once over the 15 years, but it's very tired. All the nails are popping up, wood is cracked and crickled and splintered. Some of the railing portion came off a long time ago. Also, I noticed that the structure needs some help. Some of the corners are separating. The stairs probably wasn't attached properly to begin with that piece of plywood there, and it seems like there's only a couple of nails here, a couple of nails there and there, and so again, I don't know if this probably should have been, this gap probably wasn't here to begin with, so I will have to reshore this as well. Also, the railings are no longer up to code. As you can see, these 4x4s were cut in half and carriage bolted in, but today that's no longer code. Also, the front railing spans a little more than 6 feet for each one of those sections, which I think 5 feet is probably the code today. These posts are twisted and cracked, but they are good, I think. They are structural. Also, there is no bracing whatsoever, so the entire deck wobbles pretty easily. There is no bracing under here anywhere except for this little piece that you see here. So I'm going to be adding bracing throughout. In fact, I'll probably add 2 rows, 1 and 2 of bracing underneath here to make this a little more sturdy. And I will very likely also add some 4x4 corner braces here that will come out at an angle to prevent the deck from wobbling side to side. I've already started taking one of the boards to start taking some measurements, and let's go upstairs. So I plan on using composite decking, and obviously redo all the railings as well with the vinyl stuff. As I mentioned, the posts are cut in half and split and bolted on the side. No longer code. Now they need to be solid 4x4 and bolted into a pocket in the framing. So what I plan on doing is actually pushing them on the outside. As you can see from this example that I rigged up here, I plan on essentially adding a 4x4 on the outside of the framing, and then another 2x10 that will span the entire length with obvious spacing in between. And so that post there represents the new how the post will be mounted. It's going to be bolted in with carriage bolts through the framing, and then again on the outside there'll be a new 2x10 that will span the entire perimeter of the deck. So essentially I'm pushing the railings a couple of inches outside of the decking. Same thing for the stairs. Actually, for the stairs it's going to be even easier because of the fact that, as you can see, that post is already mounted on the outside, so is that one, and essentially so is that one. So I will just be adding some bracing along the stair tread. I'm going to cut a new stair tread, bolt it on the outside, and actually expand the stairs out a little bit lengthwise. As far as the decking is concerned, because I am now pushing that the posts for the railings on the outside of the deck, this deck is 16 by 12, so obviously the board lengths are 16 feet maximum, and I don't want to buy longer and then waste a lot of decking, considering how much it costs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add one board on the outside, essentially picture frame the entire deck perimeter. That way we'll take care of that extra 5 inches that I'm adding on the outside of the deck. And actually the 16-foot boards are going to have to be cut just a few inches short in order to fit inside the picture framing. So I think it'll come out nice, and I will probably continue the picture framing right here in front of the steps, so that when you come up you don't have that those boards that are kind of sticking at you right there. But obviously I've never done this before, so this is going to have to be something that I do a little bit at a time. So my first plan here is to just strip this out of all of the decking. All this furniture obviously is going to have to come down. The other question I have, big question I have, is since I'm picture framing this, I'm going to have to start from the perimeter of the deck, from the outside here when I laid out the decking, and then work my way to the house. And I am hoping that it's going to work out okay dimension-wise, and then I don't end up with a little tiny board at the end or something that needs to be bigger or whatever. So I might lay out the whole decking first as a mock-up with all the clips in between. I plan on using the hidden fasteners and see how that works out. So my first step is to strip this out. Then I'm going to go buy some lumber and shore it all up. Again, you can see even these beams right here, these doubled up 2x10s on the edges are separated quite a bit. So I'm going to be taking some carriage bolts to it and reshoring these all of these beams that are supposed to be structural on the outside. Once all the framing is being repaired, then I will proceed putting up the posts where they're going to be. So I will probably maintain the span right here. The span in the center, I will break it into 3 sections, and that one I will very likely keep it at 2 sections right there. And of course that one's a very short section, so no problem. The railings here, I might actually also add a span in the middle. It might look too tiny, so I don't know. I also have to see, since these vinyl railing kits are prefab, they're only a certain length, so I don't even know if I can get a length that long, which probably not. So I might have to break this up as well. Hopefully it doesn't look too crowded. So once I have reshored all of the decking, all the framing rather, and put up all the posts, then I will mock up all the decking and go from there. So I will get this done now, start taking this apart, and we'll show you some more later. Okay guys, just an update on the deck project. I made some progress. I probably spent a total of I don't know, maybe 6 days over the course of about 2-3 weeks. So as I mentioned, I managed to put all the posts in and build the pockets for each one. That goes all the way down the stairs, so you can see it. I fixed all the corners. These 2 joists that were separating, I squeezed them back together, added some extra brackets at the corners. And again, as you can see, I've added all the posts. I've added the pockets in between and the external joist as well, which I'll show you on the other side how I'm bolting it through. Okay, so this is going to allow me to have the entire deck still available. The posts are now on the outside. The railings are going to basically be what used to be the outside of the deck. I put the center reinforcement there. I'm going to put another one right here in this area. That made a huge difference. Everything I've done so far made a huge difference. Stairs also. Let me get down here. I've added all the a new stringer on the outside, which I cut to match the original stair treads. Okay, so as you can see, those are bolted through with carriage bolts. I did have a post in the middle that went all the way from the ground up, forming the post for the original railing. However, unfortunately, on this side, I had about 5.5 feet, which is great. On the other side, I had about 6.5 feet. The maximum length for these railings now is, which is probably code, is 6 feet. So for those 5-6 inches, unfortunately I had to add another railing. So that meant cutting the original post right there and adding these 2, which came out actually very strong. They wiggle a little bit side to side, not front to back, but side to side wiggles a little bit. However, once the stair tread is inside, is added in and nailed here and on the other side, I don't think this is going to budge a hair at all. So I also fixed the stairs, which were lopsided. The stringer on the other side towards the house was a little bit lower. basically making the treads kind of slope down that way towards the house. So with a car jack, I jacked it up here, and because again I had to cut the post here, you can see how much I came up about half an inch or so, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Bolted it through, nailed it through, again carriage bolted through as well on this side, spacers in between with 2x4s. Reinforced it up there. This was another area where the stairs were basically coming off the deck, so I reinforced them, jacked them up with a car jack again in the right position, and then I bolted them through with these brackets, these stair brackets. 2x from the outside stringer, 2x here, and this is not moving. It's nice and solid now. So again, added that corner bracket right there. And then we're gonna fix that nail. The corners on the outside have been reinforced with aluminum brackets there, and nailed through. 3 to 4 screws, deck screws per 2x there. Those are gonna get carriage bolted in, just like on this side right here. Actually, those are lag bolts because I can't find carriage bolts long enough. So where I can, I'm using carriage bolts, like right there, if you can see this, and right there, okay. And where I cannot, because it's just too deep and too much wood to go through, I'm using carriage bolts, which is what the original, lag bolts, which is what originally was used to hold the posts, which were cut halfway through, so they held for 15 years. I think this is going to hold for probably another 30. Plus now they're going through this external joist, which is solid all the way through, nailed at the corner there, double nail with those brackets top and bottom. So I don't think this is going anywhere. The posts feel very strong and solid. One quick design note: you'll notice that I left that post at each corner, the post at each corner 8 feet for now. The others are 4 feet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, depending on what type of sleeve, how long the sleeve that I find is going to be, I will probably go with a 6 foot tall corner post instead of the others at 4 feet. So that way it's going to give me a place to hang a planter or something like that at each corner. I think it'll look nice. So that's where I'm at right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add aluminum roofing underneath the deck here. That way I can use this area to stack some firewood in the winter. And then I'm ready for the decking. So that's next. Okay guys, another quick update on the deck project. As you can see, I have almost half of it decked over, and I would say it's coming out pretty damn nice actually. I'm using the Veranda Home Depot brand composite decking. This is the Brazilian color looking thing, and it is nice color wise, texture wise. It is not very scratch resistant. I don't know if you can tell, but there's already some scratches from just handling the boards and transporting them and so on. But it's not bad overall. One surprise is that I found that the stair stringers need to be spaced out about 9 inches on center in order to use the composite decking for the stair threads. So I had to spend another weekend and another $100 putting in some couple of more stringers, as you can see there right in the center of the two. Overall it's coming out very nice. It's nice and strong. All the posts are very rigid, so I'm very pleased about that. Before I started doing the field of the decking, as you can see, I picture framed it, and so went all the way around. Managed to have some decent looking miter corners, which I can see they have expanded under the sun. So I left about I want to say a 16th, maybe a little more than a 16th of an inch in between those miters, and I can see under the sun and it's early October. It's definitely stretched a little bit. On the edges here, I left the whole eighth of an inch as per instructions. So not very consistent, but I'm using these wedges here, these spacers, and it's coming out pretty nice. The clips, the boxes come with L-shaped static clips, so those I put between the outside board and the first board there, and it was definitely a challenge to get them all lined up and get the spacing right, but again, it looks like it's coming out pretty nice. Around the posts, I probably didn't leave as much of a gap as I should have, so I have an electric flesh cutting saw. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and kind of give it a little lick over there, make them a little larger. The trim of the bottom trim there, the white one that you see there, it's going to cover that anyway, so it's better that I give it a generous spacing. I haven't put down all of the screws, as you can see there. I've only put a few, so these board right now have screws on the outside posts, but not in the middle, and so I'm going to do those later. Basically, I want to wait and see until I put the railing and see how that is going to look. I'll probably put it right in the center under the railing so that they won't be so obvious. But certainly, I'm going to add some more on the edges around the poles. So again, one thing about these screws here for the clips, for the Randa clips, these are wicked expensive and they strip very easily. So what I found is you have to find the right balance on the torques of your on the torque setting on your screw gun. And I want to say that they designed them that way to strip so that you don't retighten them, but they strip too easily. So you definitely have to torque down the screw gun and find the right point at which they go down and they stop, and the clutch kicks in and it doesn't strip it. The problem is that sometimes the screw doesn't go down all the way, finds an obstacle or another, it gets tough, and then it remains halfway and the head strips. So that's challenging. So another thing I found is that instead of putting the screws, let me get a clip so I can show you better. Instead of putting the screws straight down like that vertically, what you need to do is put them in an angle, and what that does is it snugs the clip against the board, and it allows the screw to go down easily. This is the detail I have to fix. There's a bit of a height difference here. This little board tends to stick up a little bit, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove it, shave a little bit on the bottom, put it back down so that it's flush. As you can see, I put my aluminum roofing underneath the decking, which that way it allows me to have a nice covered roof under there so that it doesn't rain on me. I can put my firewood under there, and it's gonna look nice. So there's the aluminum roofing there. So quick update, the next thing is I'm just gonna finish the decking there, go around the posts, and then before I start the stairs, I am going to do the skirt. I'm going to put the white skirting on the outside of the whole deck where it is visible. So before I do the stair treads, I'm going to do the decking, the skirt on the outside, which is obviously going to be easier to cut before I have the treads in there. So I will put it against the stringers, mark it, take it down, cut it, put it back up, and then put the stair treads. So that's a quick update for you. By the way, for the skirts, I'm thinking of using half-inch poly, whatever, Home Depot stuff. This is not the 3/4 of an inch. That is very expensive. They also have some Home Depot stores, that is, not all of them carry it. They have half-inch, again, composite white boards, all different sizes as far as widths. And they actually even have wood grain stamped on it, so I think it'll look nice. And again, it's a lot cheaper. It is less dense foam inside as opposed to the heavy duty stuff, the 3/4 inch stuff. But again, the cost is more than half as much, so it's certainly going to be a lot better. So that's the detail of that last step. The stair tread is going to fit right underneath, just like that board does right now, and it's going to go around. I left the 1-inch overhang all the way around on the picture framing boards, including here, and I will do the same on every stair tread, and I think that will allow me to have a nice wide step and have that 1/2 inch room to put my board against this to clean it up. So that's it for now.